All right, family. We black once again. It's on with the general. We got a powerful presentation today. Kemet, the black and African Egypt that history tried to erase. We're gonna deal with some powerful documents that's giving clear reference to who the ancient Egyptians were, coming from contemporary sources of that day and time. The Greeks, we're going to deal with what the Greeks thought of the ancient Egyptians. But before we get started, family, most definitely, I want you to check out my Patreon. Get over there. We got over 500 exclusive live streams on Patreon, all fire. The link is at the top of the chat. Also, kingseti.com, online marketplace, official General SETI products, t-shirts, hoodies, African and Kemetic jewelry. We got them classic DVDs, over 50 DVDs for sure. You cannot get anywhere else. And check it out, fam. We got some fly products for you. Also, we have the memberships for the YouTube. General SETI, Sarah Soon SETI. You get access to exclusive videos also on YouTube. Check it out. We're going to compile a heavy, heavy treasure chest this upcoming year. And we talking about also, we've already given the video a thumbs up. I want you to like it because you love it. I want you to share it with your family and friends and comment, comment, comment. Just don't say nothing stupid because we will ban you. You feel what I'm saying? That's what'll happen. But anyway, let's talk about this because we seem like we stay in a state of confusion, which it shouldn't be no confusion because the majority of the ancients were clear on who they knew the ancient Egyptians to be. They were very clear. And we're going to, if you have not been privy to any of this information, today is your lucky day because you're going to get it straight from the general. We're going to talk about, and I've read these manuscripts over 20 some years ago. And I knew that they were going to be profound, a lifelong documentation towards, clearing up who the ancient Egyptians were. And a lot of times they say, oh, all these wild Afrocentric students and teachers, they always coming as if they don't have, that these documents didn't come from European sources, Caucasian sources. They never mention that. You feel me? So we want to, we want to bring forward this documentation. Now, the first the first, I studied Herodotus first. Okay, and I put in here clearly Greeks who said the Egyptians were black. And it says here it is a clean source base list of Greek writers who explicitly or implicitly describe Egyptians as dark skinned, black, with no exaggeration and no misquoting. I'll also be clear about what each author meant in their own terms. Okay, so now we're talking about Herodotus in the 5th century BC. Okay, and it says implicit but clear. Implicit but clear. And it said the key passage, histories, we talking about volume 2, I believe it's chapter of no paragraph, I believe 104. Paragraph 104, it says he argues the Colossians are Egyptians because they are dark skinned with tight curly hair. Now let me put that back in there so y'all can see that. I know y'all want to see that. And so we got to get that for you. We got to put that in there for you. We can't leave that out. Make sure I get it in there and blow it up real good too. Yeah, we're gonna get in there. We're gonna blow it up real good. Okay. Okay. Okay, that's pretty good. I don't want to blow it up so big. Shit. There we go. Yeah, that look good. So we talking about we talking about let me do this too while I'm here. Hold on, family. I just had where was I? Hold on. That's all right. I ain't gonna worry about it. So we talking about Herodotus. It says that he argues the Colossians are an Egyptian race. You see, because they are dark skinned, black. See, black skin, tight curly hair, tight. As we discussed earlier, this only works if Egyptians themselves were understood to have these traits. You see? So there ain't no pale. So when you look at today, you talking about dark skin and said that they were related to the Ethiopians. And so that really killed. And so when we talk about the Ethiopians in the ancient world, we talking about the Nubians, that they look like the Nubians. Okay. So that just let's be clear about that. So Herodotus associates Egyptians with dark skin, black skin, and curly hair relative to Greeks. Okay. Then you got this Greek, uh uh Oscar Oscalus. Okay, Oscalus. Okay, and in the supplements, lines 154 through 165, he says Egyptians are described as black, dark skinned. Okay. Now we see now when people use the see, I see videos, right? And see, people want to have it two different ways. Now I just seen a lot of people when they don't want to be called black, they'll put something black up. I seen some Somalians do it. They say we're not black. See, this is black. We're not black, we're brown. And when people want to flee from black, they make that argument. You feel me? Oh, I'm not black. See, this is black. I'm not black. I'm brown. I'm this, that, and the third. So when they don't want to be black, they'll put the color. They know exactly what black means. But then when you got these other scholars, when they want to go, they trying to make it seem, oh, when they say black, that they mean, oh, you could have a skin tan, or not necessarily meaning black the color, but you got a tan, and you see, and so on and so forth. So they get, they get kind of you know, blurry when it comes to the ancient times, that when people use the term black, that it could mean something other than the color black. Okay. So we're gonna be clear that they saying that not only are they black, but they favor the Nubians, they favor the Egyptians. So it says right there, this is a direct descriptor used poetically but deliberately. Clear Egyptian usage of black, dark for Egyptians, contemporary of Herodotus. So he was a contemporary of Herodotus, and he saw the same thing. So this is not these peoples is black. So I mean, we got to be clear about this. This is somebody looking, and I mean, at least people can make a fucking observation. I mean, damn, if you keep hearing people say use the word black, then obviously they black. You see, they looking dead at the Egyptians, and so you got Aristotle in 4th century BC, climatic climatic explanation in his physiognomics and politics, physiognomics of politics, Aristotle states Egyptians and Ethiopians are dark skinned due to climate, cold regions, pale skin, hot regions, dark skin. This is what he said. Egyptians group with Africans, not Europeans. So Aristotle grouped the Egyptians with Africans. You see, he grouped them with Africans. Strabo. Now this is the AI now. Then ain't nobody, they got the information. That don't mean they always right, but certain information, which I've read this, they correct with this. Okay. And I had got on the AI, so the AI most definitely gonna come correct. Cause they know they can't goddamn play with me because I know how to tighten their ass up real quick. So Strabo in the first century BC, first century, he talks about African continuity. Strabo, in his book Geography, book 17, describes Egyptians are physically similar to Nubians with gradual variation northward. No sharp racial boundaries between Egypt and inner Africa. Emphasize African continuity, not separations, rejects idea of Egyptians as European-like. Okay, then you have Diodorus Siculus. Okay, we got Diodorus Siculus. Let me make sure I got the family in there. Yeah, so you got you got let me get Diodorus Siculus. Strong African framing. Diodorus states Egyptians originated from southern Ethiopian Nubian regions. Egyptians originated from southern Ethiopian Nubian regions. Civilization moved northward. Egyptians shared physical and cultural traits with Africans. Clear African origin narrative, widely cited in Afrocentric scholarship. So right there, it's in agreement because the documents speak for themselves, man. The documents speak for themselves, shit. And so when we look at the ancient Greeks, they almost unanimous. It's almost a unanimous agreement that the Egyptians are Nubian, that they move northward. Okay, we're gonna get even deeper into it. Lucian makes casual reference to Egyptians as dark skinned in comparison to Greeks, treating it as obvious and uncontroversial. Okay, indicates this perception persisted for centuries. So you talking about this is in the second century. So the AI clearly it indicates this perception persisted for centuries. So I mean, so this is I mean, you can go down there and here it is. He in the second century. So damn, he's still saying the same thing. So even in the second century, they were still common era. They were still dark. They were still dark. So really, you see what you see today. When, after Alexander, they probably had absorbed a lot of that. Probably when the Arabs and shit and came in and they conquered across North Africa, and a lot of them Ottoman Turks came in there and brought all them vagabond, and so even then they went south. Most of them peoples in the north, them ain't African people. Them is people mixed with all type of Arab, Ottoman, Turk, Greek. You see, all up and through there. Yeah, because you think about the Roman and army and Alexander, they had peoples from all over where they conquered. So they probably had, man, probably 15 to 20 different kind of people in that army that came in with them, you know? So, I mean, let's be real about it. And so, important clarifications. Okay, so let's go down here because another thing that I had to do was ask because I know Diodorus said that the Egyptians were a colony of Ethiopia. That's what he said. He said that the Egyptians were a colony of Ethiopian. So I put it in there. Did he say it? And it says short answer, yes. Diodorus Siculus explicitly said that the Egyptians were originally a colony from Ethiopia. Now, people must, and I did this so that y'all would understand. Ethiopia in the ancient world is Sudan. Okay, Sudan. So when you talk about you talking about the dark one. So even though the Egyptians might have been a little lighter, they look like the Ethiopians. We got to stop this shit. Period. This is clear. You got almost 6 or 7 centuries of people who actually saw them saying the same. And this is very critical what I put in about Diodorus Siculus. He said that the Egyptians were originally a colony from Ethiopia. That means you didn't broke off from the mother country. Nah, just like Sheikh Diop and Dr. John Henry Clark said, when you say if he looking at the Egyptians and the Ethiopians say that Egypt is a colony of Ethiopia, they got to look like them. God damn. Because he could have easily said, I can't see how that's possible. If he looking at the Ethiopian and he looking at the Egyptian, and the Ethiopians tell him that Egypt is a colony of Ethiopia and they don't even look like them, I mean, goddamn, that would have been an easy observation. Say, I can't see how that's possible. You see, but there was no need to refute it. He never refuted it. Okay. And actually he taught that it was true. He actually taught that it was true and that they learned major elements of civilization from the Ethiopians. Now, this was in, a lot of people think that, oh, we make this up, but I mean, this is in the 5th century BC. This ain't like we made this shit up 2 days ago. This is in the 5th century BC. Okay. However, he does not plainly say Egyptians are black, but in one blunt sentence, the way modern summaries often phrase it, steadily, he clearly places Egyptians within a African continuum that originates in Ethiopia, whom he explicitly describes as black. Okay, explicitly describes as black. I can see it. You can hardly see it from the comments, but that's okay. I'm gonna move it up just a little bit so y'all can see the bottom sentence. Whom he explicitly describes as black. Okay, now let's move forward. Asked the question, did Diodorus say Egypt was a colony? I already did that one, but he gonna go in a little deeper. Diodorus Siculus, Library of History, book 3, I believe paragraph 2 to 3. Diodorus writes that Ethiopians are the oldest of men. Okay, so they knew that in the ancient world. It did not come with no damn Charles Darwin or nothing. They were already saying that the Ethiopians are the oldest of men. Shit, in far into the damn BC period. They knew that. When you look at the damn architecture that's in Africa, obviously that they've been doing science and technology far longer, not by a little bit, by tens of thousands of years. You know what I'm saying? So that makes sense. That makes sense. You see, civilization began among them. Egypt was settled from Ethiopia. Egyptians preserved Ethiopian customs in modified form. Okay, paraphrase faithfully from the Greek traditions, the Ethiopians say, okay, let me get that up there. The Ethiopians say that the Egyptians are colonists from among themselves and that the institutions of Egypt are for the most part Ethiopian. Now, if the man is in both nations and the Ethiopians make, declarations like that, then being he's a researcher, I mean, that could easily be refuted and disputed. Okay, easily. But for the most part, he agreed. He agreed with it. Diodorus presents this as serious historical tradition, not myth. Okay. Did Diodorus say the Egyptians learned from the Ethiopians? Yes, repeatedly, repeatedly, repeatedly. Says Diodorus credits Ethiopians with teaching Egyptians kingship and divine rulership, religious rituals and sacrifice, burial practices, temple building, astronomical knowledge, law, and order. He explains that the Egyptians later claimed these institutions as their own because of their prominence, but their origin was Ethiopian. Okay, this is one of the strongest ancient statements of south to north cultural flow in all classical literature. So even when we speak about the flowing of the Nile, that it came from the southern regions, Dave already was teaching this in the BC period. We did not make this up. We did not make this up. This was already being taught far into the BC period. But because we were not, but that's why that's why them Pan African teachers is so valuable and nobody can replace them because they have given us these materials. You see, they have given us these materials that we would have never had. Okay, that proves that Egypt was black in all of Africa because they taught us we didn't have no civilizations. Shit, they said we didn't have no civilization. I used to read them history books. They say black Africans was the only people in history that never had a civilization. That's the racism that they was teaching our people. They were teaching our people that Africans was jigaboos and shit, running around naked with bones in their nose and shit. That's why people didn't want to be African because they saw that Tarzan and Jane shit and all of that, niggas running through the Africa eating motherfucker. And so they didn't want to be that. They didn't want to be that. You feel me? They didn't want to be that. And so that was very devastating to the psyche of black people. And they began to dissociate themselves with Africa, because they were embarrassed by what they were seeing, that what was being presented by, European to the world of who we were. Now, did Diodorus say Ethiopians were black? Yes, and unambiguously. Unambiguously. Diodor, but even in the movies, they show that the Ethiopians is white. And I'm gonna show y'all if y'all go and watch that movie. And I'm the one been telling y'all. I've been telling y'all this for a long time. If y'all watch that movie, Clash of the Titans, they got an old one and they got a new one, and that was about Perseus, and he had to save the princess Andromeda from the Kraken. That's where y'all get the let loose the Kraken. You see that famous line, let loose the Kraken. Okay. And so people don't understand that Andromeda was an Ethiopian princess and that her mother, Cassiopeia, was an Ethiopian queen, and her father, what was his name? Cephas. Cephas. That was his name. Cephas. He was the king. When people look at that movie, do you know that that supposedly took place in Ethiopia? People don't even know that that story took place in Ethiopia, but everybody in that movie was white. They didn't even have one black person in the movie at all. You see? And you can go in there and they will show you, and they'll be in Ethiopia and they will be showing white people in the books. I say, what kind of craziness is this? You see? So Diodorus describes Ethiopians as the blackest of men, living closest to the sun, possessing ancient wisdom. This is explicit color language, not inferred. Okay, so does that mean Diodorus said Egyptians were black? Logically, yes. 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 Okay, then. Okay, so textually, indirectly. But logically, yes. Here is the key point similar to Herodotus, but stronger. Ethiopians are explicitly described as black. Egyptians are said to be colonists from Ethiopia. Egyptians preserve Ethiopian institutions. Egyptians are therefore part of the same African origin stream. So while Diodorus does not write the sentence Egyptians are black, he absolutely situates them as descendants of black Africans. To deny that implication would make his entire argument incoherent. Well, boy. See, I got on the damn AI. That AI went in. Like, fuck it, let me go on because we can't deal with SETI like that. You see what I'm saying? I'm gonna make it a goddamn supercomputer break down because they're gonna have to come out with the facts. You see, important, Diodorus is not alone. So you have Herodotus, Strabo, Aristotle. And so let's I'm gonna ask because he didn't, what he didn't say, what I wanted everybody to hear, uh how much time I got on this one? I ain't got too much more time, but because Herodotus said some things, but I even brought in that, and Herodotus said a lot of things too, but it's gonna take me a little more time to do that. Because I put in there about the Medunata, the hieroglyphics. Let me see if I should have put it in there right behind that. Okay, that's what Herodotus said. Herodotus said a lot of things too. I'm gonna have to come back on that. I'm gonna have to come back on that one. There you go. Did Diodorus say the Ethiopians taught the Egyptians hieroglyphics? Short answer, yes. Diodorus Siculus said the Ethiopians were the originators of sacred writing and that the Egyptians derived their religious institution, including sacred knowledge, from them. However, he does not give a single blunt sentence saying the Ethiopians taught the Egyptians hieroglyphics using the exact word. The claim is clear in substance, indirect in phrasing. Okay, so let's be exact and honest about what is actually in the text. Okay, so it says here, this comes from Diodorus. This is book 3. This is the his histories, especially chapters 2 through 4 and 8. In book 3, Diodorus says lays out a southern Ethiopian origin of civilization, arguing that the Ethiopians are the most ancient people. Period. Okay, we made that clear that it's been said into the BC period. So Charles Darwin just took an ancient story where it had us as divine and changed it. But we were already the most ancient people. I just never heard anybody say that they came from the Ethiopians. I just never heard it. They ain't say that. So we can see what's ancient and what's new. I can tell you that Egyptians are colonists from Ethiopia. Egyptian religion, kingship, ritual, and sacred knowledge came from Ethiopia. Ethiopians were the first to honor the gods correctly. Okay, correctly. Sacred knowledge was preserved by the priests. This is the framework in which writing appears. What Diodorus says about writing, states that the sacred records, theology, and priestly knowledge originated among the Ethiopians. Egyptians later inherited and systematized these institutions. Writing was a part of religious and priestly transmission, not a neutral technology. In his worldview, writing is inseparable from temple knowledge. Temple knowledge is Ethiopian in origin. Therefore, the sacred writing tradition precedes Egypt and comes from the south. Okay, comes from the south. That includes what we call hieroglyphics, which were sacred, priestly, temple bound, used for theology, ritual, and kingship. So the logic chain is explicit, even if the paraphrasing is not modern. Okay, so that's that. Now I could go on, but that clearly showed that even the Medunetta, even what they call the Medunetta, uh from out of Ethiopia. Come from out of Ethiopia. So family, what y'all need to do is make sure that y'all keep up with the references. We're going to continue to put these references out because they need to be put out. You see, they need to be put out. That's right. I understand that, Ray. You already know. You see, you already know. They went to Coptic, but it was clear that the language came from the South. So why didn't they go to the South? Why do they always say that Coptic is the last stage of the Egyptian when it came from the South? I never heard nobody go to the South and try to get the languages to translate the Medunetta when that's where it came from. You see? Yeah, they never said nothing, but that was clear, and that's why I brought that up. But anyway, family, and make sure y'all check me out. Get over to Patreon. We getting busy. We getting busy now, family. We about to go to work. You see what I'm saying? And put out the evidence like it need to be put out. Appreciate y'all. We just getting started. We're gonna have a nice, we're gonna have a nice night tonight. So y'all stay tuned. I'm coming right black. Arm yourself with knowledge. Bang on that wicked ass beast daily. Liberation through African education and confrontation. Boom. Black power.